Just came off the field with our light practice today in helmets. Just a little bit of individual, just to get the guys moving around, and that was good. Little special teams to start, just to get a preview of the Lions, and then we did a walkthrough at the very end, split offense and defense. So that was good as well. Also, with the injuries updates, again, that'll be on Wednesday. I'll give the injury report out on Wednesday for that. Really don't have any updates further than what I gave last time, and that's where that is. And again, we'll update you more on Wednesday. With the with the bye week, your mini bye, what we do is a self scout, and we look at each other, offense and defense, and look at the individual, how they can improve, how we can improve our scheme. It's very important that we do that. Again, we do that every single week. We're always self-scouting, but it's good to go ahead and reflect back on the last 5 or 6 games to see if there's any tendencies, any looks that you have that you can play off of in your scheme. So that's an important thing to do. And more important, like I said, the individual. We always do this every single mini bye or bye week. We get 2 or 3 things that each guy can work on, and those individuals were curtailed to that improvement today. And it's always the partnership of the coach and the player and the coach to get that done. So that was good to see that. And again, I always look at those things. I visit with the players about those periodically during the week to see how their checkpoints are and how they're improving on those things, because we put a big emphasis on that, because that's what wins games, right? Fundamentals and technique wins football games, and it's about the individual really doing a great job with those fundamentals and techniques. Again, rest and recovery this weekend, I thought it was good for the players. The mental rest and the recovery of the physical body. Also, it was really good for those guys at that time. I talked to the guys at the team meeting today. During the last 6 games, we're 3-3. The 3 wins that we did have, the positivity of that was, we had 0 turnovers in those games, and the turnover margin was +5, and that's a big reason why we won those football games. And the sack numbers were good on both sides too. So that was a good thing to look at, and then really the last 6 games, if you add up the numbers, the scoring defense has been really well. We've been 4th in the league during that time. The run offense and run defense, again, has been, 3rd and 1st in the league. And then the third down percentages are really good, both in the top 10 during those games. And that was the reason why we're in most of those games, had a chance to win 3 of those, and a chance to win the 4th, and potentially another one there as well. But that was really good as well. With that, I'll open up to questions.
When we talked to Andrew Janocko last week about Justin, he was saying that he'd be watching the throws to see if there's any wobble, or I think the word he used was flap. How have Justin's throws looked to you?
Yeah, we're again evaluating that as we go. I think they look good. I think he's in a good spot. And again, we'll know exactly where we're going to be probably more on Wednesday. I don't really have any more updates than that, but in terms of him throwing the ball, it looks to be good.
Was he able to do everything in practice today? Was he a full?
He was out there practicing. Really, like I said, we only had individual. That's all we had was individual today. Worked through that, and going from there.
Has he been medically cleared now?
Like I said, I'll update the injuries on Wednesday.
So Matt, you guys were not able to make a determination today whether or not he'll be able to start Sunday?
Yeah, we just need more time. We need teamwork. We need that, and we'll eventually get there. We're just not there right now.
What will the teamwork show you that you haven't seen yet?
Well, just functioning in the game of football, and that's a big part of it, and that's really the only update I have. But once we see him in the game of football, in terms of going against the scout team and all that stuff, and taking snaps and playing full speed, and then we'll make a determination. We're just not there today.
What feedback has Justin given you guys when you talk to him after practice and say, "How's it feeling? How does the throw feel?"
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's really no other update. He's been positive the entire way. He's always going to be positive. He's a worker. He's always optimistic with where he's at, and he feels where he's at a good spot right now. So again, we'll know more once we get the teamwork done.
What do you mean by good spot?
Just mentally where he is, a good spot where he is, and that's where he is right now.
Matt, if and when Nate Davis gets back in the mix, what decisions does that leave you with as you try to figure out where he fits, how Tevin's played on the right side, and all those things?
Yeah, the combinations there are going to be a discussion that we have to have for sure. Nate's a good player, and Cody's a good player, and Tevin's a good player. So it's a good problem to have. But we'll look at it and put our best 5 out there. We're going to put out there for the Lions.
Do you see Nate as flexible enough to play either side in the interior?
Yeah, I see both. I see really all 3 guys being able to flip and play We just got to figure out the best combination, who's next to who, and what gives us the best spot.
What are you expecting to be better about your offense once Justin is back?
Yeah, I would say that, like I told you before, the experience factor, him being in there, understanding the whole offense, which Bajent, of course, like as we have discussed, was able to chunk a bunch of information, and we're certainly pleased where he is. But being that he's been through it a whole year, understands the concepts. Um, really, I'd probably say that is part of it, and then the ability to stretch the field vertically and horizontally in the run game as well, and then having to be able to really focus on in the passing game, the ability to run, in a drop back pass or in a boot situation. So, and really hurt you that way. So there's a lot of things that he brings to the table, and again, when he's healthy, he'll be back. He'll be our starter, and we'll see where it is.
Has his time not playing made you appreciate him even more? Those things that you were just explaining.
Yeah, it's really appreciate both guys. Appreciate the young guy coming in for what he did, and also appreciate Justin, for what he brings to the table. Obviously his best game of this year was the Washington game. You certainly, point back to that game, and man, it was a heck of a game to watch, and he really did a nice job of managing that game. Really delivering, to our skill and letting those guys run, and during the course of that game, and obviously DJ was a big highlight of that, and our ability to run the ball as well was good.
That's the blueprint, right? I mean, is that the level that you are looking for the Washington game out of Justin Fields every time he goes out there?
I mean, anytime a guy performs at a high level, that's where your mark is. You want to always shoot for that. And that's a big part of it, really, in anybody. Anybody's performance. I'm sure DJ would point to that game too and say, "Yeah, I wish I played like that every single game."
What have you guys talked about with Justin over the past month when he's been out, as far as things from those first 6 games that you want him to clean up and tighten up when he's back?
Yeah, really I'm not going to get into details of each guy or into Justin about what we talk about, what improvements are, where they need to improve on, because that would be a long list of each guy, with, hey, there's 2 things in the run, 2 things in the pass, and that's how we focus our attention on. But just fundamentals and technique, really of his position. And that's what we're focusing on each guy.
Did you guys spend a lot of time on that the past month while he's been out? Because I know he's been staying dialed in and everything, but he is a little more free to work on stuff like that and to almost like a year-end or a bye-week type review of his first 6 games. Did you guys use a lot of that month?
Certainly, we do that with all our injured players. The guys that are injured, that are out, you have time to reflect, go back and look at your tape. How do you improve and look at your body of work that you've done thus far? And we did that with everybody. Everybody does that, and that's an important part of getting better. How do you utilize your time when you're during injury to keep your wind up, number one, keep your conditioning level up, and have the ability to rehab that body part, whatever that is, but also mentally really focus on your job, how you can do it better. And really it comes down to the fundamentals and technique of your position. And it's about the details of that. You getting with your coach and partnering with your coach to be able to get that done.
Matt, this offense that you go up against on Sunday is pretty potent, maybe as good as any you've seen. What is the initial thing that jumps out to you when you start to see why they've been as productive as they have?
I would say balance, the ability to distribute the ball, and if you look at their production, where it comes from, obviously the backs are a big part of what they do. The addition of the new back that they have, obviously an explosive player with Montgomery. I think that's a really a yin and a yang type of situation, really good for them. Obviously the rising of their tight end, Laporta, I think he does a really good job in that offense. And then their receiving core. You got St. Brown, who's a big part of their production as well, and those guys being able to distribute the ball to those guys equally, and that's what makes it so hard to defend.
You mentioned Gibbs. What have you seen on him as a rookie in terms of a guy who's really kind of seemed to hit a springboard here recently?
Yeah, just the explosiveness. The same thing we saw when he was coming out. We all went down there and visited with him, and we certainly really liked his tape coming out and the explosiveness that he brings. In the screen game, in the run game, the cutback ability, the ability to circle your defense and bounce it outside. So yeah, I would say that.
And when Justin went down, you guys were still trying to figure out your offensive identity as a whole. You guys have kind of figured that out since he's really been out. How do you expect that to help him when he comes back, that you guys kind of know who you are more than when he went out?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I think that the offense is going to be, where it is, based on the talents that we have available to us. So I think that, when there's an injury at receiver or running back, you kind of curtail your offense to that. It's no different for the quarterback. We're going to curtail it a little bit, for Justin and to fit his style. What does that mean? It means, okay, we're going to bring back the quarterback runs. We're gonna bring back the keepers. We're gonna bring back the different things that we've done, with Justin that are effective, and to go from there. But again, if it was, Nate was starting for us, we'd do the same thing with him. So it's important that we enhance the skill levels of our players.
Did you hear back from the league on, did you hear back from the NFL on the DJ Moore offensive pass interference calls?
I have not heard back yet.
How did you guys use the mini buy or whatever you wanna call it with Montez? I know he came in, it was kind of a whirlwind, there's not a lot of time to get his bearings.
Yeah.
Were you guys able to use some of this extended break for that, or was he just?
Yeah, certainly. He's no different than anybody else. He's
He is different than everyone else though, because he got traded
yeah.
here like a week ago.
Me. So what's your point?
Montez has had to catch up in a way that not everybody else has.
Oh, I
Now
got you.
get an
Yeah,
extended break with Montez,
certainly.
work with him on the scheme and everything like that, so it is different than everybody else. What did you do with Montez in this situation to?
Yeah, just working with Travis, and Hines extra. They've been doing that. They've been working with him all the way to catch him up, and he's done a good job with that. He's super smart. Obviously a big talent. You saw the pressures that he gave us, last Thursday night, and he's going to continue to do that. So yeah, just catching him up and doing a good job with that.
Matt, we saw Justin's hand was wrapped. Is that just athletic
that-
tape? We saw Justin's hand was wrapped at practice. Is that just athletic tape right now?
Yeah, he's like he said, he's tried different things. He started with a glove and he's cut the thumb out and all that sort of stuff. And that's just another way that he feels comfortable